every planet in the solar system becomes habitable overnight. Not slightly less deadly, not maybe survivable with a very expensive helmet. Actually habitable. You can breathe the air. Liquid water can exist on the surface. Temperatures stay tolerable. Radiation drops to manageable levels. Somehow, even the gas giants now have places where you can stand without immediately becoming a physics demonstration. Congratulations! The solar system just unlocked 7 new worlds, and Earth is no longer the obvious first choice. Let's start with Mercury. Right now, Mercury swings between brutal heat in daylight and extreme cold at night. It barely has an atmosphere, and one solar day lasts about 176 Earth days. But in our new habitable version, the temperature problem is fixed. You step outside beneath a huge black sky, with the sun appearing almost 3 times larger than it does from Earth. The strange part is that the slow day remains. You could build cities that move, crawling around Mercury to stay near the comfortable line between daylight and darkness. A city chasing sunset forever. Miss the bus, and the next one may arrive sometime next season. Next comes Venus. This one gets weird fast. Venus is almost the same size as Earth, with similar surface gravity. Unfortunately, the real Venus has temperatures around 465 degrees Celsius, crushing atmospheric pressure, and clouds containing sulfuric acid. That is less Earth's twin and more sibling who made very different life choices. Make Venus habitable, though, and suddenly it becomes one of the best destinations in the solar system. Gravity would feel almost normal. Its atmosphere could produce dramatic weather and enormous cloud formations. But Venus rotates incredibly slowly and backward compared with most planets. A solar day there lasts about 117 Earth days. You could watch the sun rise in the west, then wait nearly 4 months before seeing another sunrise. People would probably stop saying, "Good morning." The phrase becomes administratively complicated. Then there is Mars. Mars is the obvious winner, right? Not so fast. A habitable Mars would be incredible. Rivers and lakes could return. Olympus Mons would rise over a living world, while Valles Marineris would remain a canyon system stretching thousands of kilometers. Gravity, however, would still be only about 38% of Earth. You would feel ridiculously light. Running would feel different. Jumping would be glorious. Basketball would become completely unreasonable. And because a Martian day is only slightly longer than an Earth day, life there might feel strangely familiar. Until you notice that sunset is happening over one of the largest volcanoes in the solar system. Now we move to Jupiter. This is where our hypothetical starts cheating. Jupiter is a gas giant with no normal solid surface to stand on. So for Jupiter to become truly habitable, we need some stable layer, floating landmass, artificial platform, or entirely new physical arrangement where humans can exist. Let's give it one. You step outside. The sky is enormous. Cloud systems stretch farther than continents. Storms larger than Earth rotate below you. Somewhere in the distance is the Great Red Spot, a gigantic storm that has existed for centuries. But gravity is the real problem. Near Jupiter's visible cloud tops, gravity is roughly 2.5 times Earth's. So unless our habitability upgrade also softens that, every movement becomes exhausting. Walking upstairs becomes a boss fight. Dropping your phone becomes a military event. Still, the view would be unmatched. Jupiter's huge family of moons would turn the sky into a constantly changing celestial display. Then Saturn. Again, we need somewhere stable to live. But once we invent that, Saturn may become the most beautiful habitable world. The rings would dominate the sky. From certain locations, they could stretch overhead like a luminous cosmic bridge. They are made mostly of countless pieces of ice and rock. From the surface, the rings would not look like clean, solid bands. They would create changing arcs, shadows, gaps, and patterns across the heavens. There is one catch. Saturn is a world of violent atmospheric motion. So even after making it breathable and survivable, weather forecasting might remain emotionally aggressive. Chance of rain, 20%. Chance of the atmosphere developing opinions, also 20%. Now Uranus. Yes, we have reached that part of the solar system. Uranus rotates almost completely on its side, with an axial tilt of about 98 degrees. That gives it extraordinarily long seasons during its 84-year orbit around the Sun. A habitable Uranus would therefore have some of the strangest seasonal geography imaginable. Entire civilizations might organize themselves around decades of changing sunlight. You could be born during one season and become an adult before the planet moves meaningfully into another. Also, Uranus has faint rings. So Saturn gets the glamorous jewelry. Uranus gets the minimalist version. And then Neptune, the farthest major planet from the Sun. Sunlight there is hundreds of times weaker than on Earth, so our habitability magic is doing serious overtime. But Neptune offers something extraordinary. Weather. And by extraordinary, I mean deeply unnecessary. Neptune has some of the fastest winds measured in the solar system, with speeds above 2,000 kilometers per hour. Obviously, those need to become manageable before anyone starts selling beachfront property. Even then, Neptune would be a dim blue world beneath a tiny distant sun. One Neptunian year lasts about 165 Earth years. A human living a normal lifespan would never naturally celebrate a first Neptune birthday. That is excellent news for anyone who dislikes getting older. Terrible news for cake. And finally, Earth. Earth does not change much, but its meaning does. Because if every other planet were habitable, Earth would no longer be humanity's only natural home. Mercury could offer moving cities beneath an enormous sun. Venus could become a near-Earth-sized world with alien days. Mars could give us low gravity and colossal landscapes. Jupiter and Saturn could become impossible civilizations surrounded by moons and rings. Uranus could produce societies shaped by decades-long seasons. Neptune could become humanity's distant blue frontier. The solar system would stop feeling like one tiny island of life surrounded by hostile emptiness. It would become an archipelago of worlds. And that creates the biggest change of all. Not scientific, not technological, psychological. For all of human history, every civilization, language, invention, disaster, love story, bad haircut, and awkward family dinner has happened on one planet. One. But if every planet suddenly became habitable, the question would no longer be whether humanity could leave Earth. It would be much more dangerous. Which world would you choose? Because somewhere out there, someone would absolutely look at Saturn's rings, buy a one-way ticket, and say the most human sentence imaginable. The rent better be cheaper.